Right, it's time for the paper review, and shortly we'll be crossing over to Ekiti to join Ayodele Ayozubakun to talk about what is going on there. But we also have joining us the managing editor of Gloom TV, Ayodele Adio, in the studio. Ayodele, good morning.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
Now let's confirm if Ayozubakun is not there yet, but we hope he'll give us updates on what is going on in Ekiti as far as the preparation for the election is concerned, and we're counting down just a few days before then.
Yes, right around the corner, the next 72 hours or so.
Yeah. Well, you will be in Ekiti, so I know that you get firsthand what's going on, but so much to expect. Let's start with the Punch newspaper. Plateau massacre suspects must be tried in Jos. Go on is saying that it rejects military plan to move accused persons to Abuja. Well, the military is saying the prosecution process is weak in Plateau State, so they need to move them to Abuja.
I mean, isn't that one of the structural problems with our justice systems in Nigeria, where certain prosecutionary powers in certain states are quite weak, and some are stronger in certain states like Lagos State, if you'd like. I think the people of Plateau want justice. They want to see the people who've perpetrated this act, and I think the least that the military or whoever can do is to ensure that those people are prosecuted in Plateau State. However, if they look at the merit of the case and they think that to be better served in Abuja, because at the end of the day, what you really want is justice. And if they are going to bungle the case in Plateau, I mean, why not prosecute in a place where you're sure that you're going to get results?
But this basically tells to the fact that they seem to be distrust for the system. For anybody to say, no, we don't want the stories to change, but on the way from Jos to Abuja, anything can happen. So
I mean, it's quite unfortunate, that the level of trust in Abuja continues to drop every single time. The mention of the name Abuja, people are just, anything can happen when you cross.
Political interference and
it's quite
all of
sad.
that.
It's really
of course,
sad.
you recall the leaders of the North Central have been calling on the person of Danjuma, T.Y. Danjuma, to please step to the plate and help out with this security situation.
Right. We have Imo lawmakers begin impeachment proceedings against Deputy Governor. The Deputy Governor and the Governor have become strange.
It's an interesting situation in Imo State, and I do hope that we get to the point wherein representatives are answerable to their constituents. What you see is because you have a group of individuals who are in the State House of Assembly who are not really representing the interests of their constituents, or they don't even interface with their constituents. Because until we get to the point wherein when you come back home on Saturday, people are asking you the tough questions. Why did you move to impeach the deputy governor? Why did you vote on this bill, or why did you not vote on that bill? It's at that stage that we're going to have a real democracy. But what you have now is just a group of people who pander to setting interest. And that's quite sad.
2019, more parties to join alliance soon, says Secondus. And we have NSCDC arrests man who raped daughter for 3 years. It's really a bizarre situation. And Buhari supporters clash over souvenirs at Abuja rally. And one interesting topic here. Federal government may cut power supply to Republic of Benin, Togo, and Niger over the issue of debts owed the power sector.
Isn't it surprising?
They call them international customers.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that you supply
more power for Nigerians?
No, but the point there is, when we talked about this yesterday.
We did.
Everyone is talking about investment in the power sector. Where will the monies come from if Nigeria has been doing Father Christmas to all the... It's not the same thing we're saying. You bring power sector people, we've had disco representatives here and all of that. They've talked about people not paying bills. If the monies are not coming from the customers, how do you sustain the services?
You have lots of federal government parastatals who are owing billions, to these people who don't pay their rents. You have even certain security agencies who don't pay rents, who don't pay their bills, to these people. So,
and conversely, you now have a situation where the discos themselves are owing the.
I mean, it's the
NBET,
of course, the system,
electricity company,
the system,
500 billion naira.
The system is completely broken.
It is.
And on that note, I agree with Fashola, the economics need to be fixed. If you want power, they need to fix the
In
economics.
fact, recently there was one of the government houses that there was a threat to, cut one of the government houses for owing bills for the past few years.
It's embarrassing. You know, I tell
Government
you,
house.
Embarrassing is an understatement.
It's so embarrassing. You even have people who fight anti-corruption. You have NGOs, you have individuals who set up offices to fight anti-corruption.
But in their own little
when their
space.
offices, they are bypassing. They are
Exactly.
bypassing.
Yeah.
It's really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because that is part of the corruption as well.
Yeah, there you go. All right, will that be it from the
Yes.
Punch? All right, to the nation now. APC, 20 others join forces to tackle anti-Buhari coalition. Okay, 20 plus APC, that would be 21 against 39 of...
Over 30.
Over 30.
But I think it's looking more interesting.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
it's looking interesting, and I'm salivating, to see what happens and
how it plays out.
How it plays out,
yeah.
But then, one of the funny thing I see is that a lot of people are waving, the fact that a few alliances are being made across the board, and I don't think those things should be downplayed. If you'd like, I know that.
Well, the APC has actually described the coalition of the APC and PDP and the rest of them as a gang-up.
Well, how about what did they do in 2015? what did they do in 2015? But then, I understand that, Comrade Adams Oshomele has just resumed in office.
Yes,
he needs to exude
chairman.
confidence. He needs to, but I think his last few statements might hurt the party more than it helps their cause. I mean, he talks down the likes of Buba Galadima. Said people like that don't have any influence, and people who understand politics and Muhammad Buhari will know the one person who has given his all, for 14 years. This is Buba Galadima, and you don't wave people like that with a wave of hand. So
anyway,
they should be concerned about that.
Yes, Mr. President was in Ekiti yesterday. Buhari, Oshomole, Tinubu, governors, ministers seek vote for Fayemi, and what a crowd that was.
Oh yes, it was an interesting sight. You had a lot of mistakes on the people who came up stage.
Oh no, it was. The videos were viral yesterday.
You had
just almost immediately, the videos went viral.
From one mistake to the other. And I'm sure the governor was just smiling in his own quarters.
And then some people said, well, the gods of the land, you know what decisions they've taken.
And what effrontery, really. Some have described it as effrontery, coming from a Fayoshe. That look, Mr. President, just come and do your rally quietly and go back to Abuja, where you belong, and leave this my stronghold for me. All right, let's move on. Ex-Ondo Deputy Governor's girl, a reported suspect to police, says that this definitely is nothing to smile about. Unfortunate situation where it's like more and more young people in this country are buying into this falsehood that you have to do a ritual to become rich.
It's extremely sad.
How do we change this kind of narrative?
It's extremely sad.
Well,
I think
really sad.
I think it's you see, the values that you celebrate in the country, become the constitution for young people to aspire to. And unfortunately, we've set the wrong values in our country. We've taught these young people consistently that it's toggery, it's cutting corners.
It's criminality.
It's criminality that gets you to the top. And it's extremely sad. We say these things every time. The values that we're teaching young people are extremely wrong. So until we change those values, until we show young people that we have a meritocratic society, where if you work hard enough and the opportunities are created.
how the music videos they watch now compound the situation.
Even the
movies,
movies.
Exactly. Because when you see all those affluence, all of those monies and drinks and girls and all of that, people just feel that.
I recall,
Ayo,
growing up, we used to hear jingles on radio, about dignity in labor, how, it's good to work hard. Your life is a mirror through which children look at life. What kind of examples are you, putting before them and all of that? But nobody is doing that anymore.
Yeah, it's
and we keep shouting ourselves hoarse that the NOA, unfortunately, is not stepping
maybe
to the
the population has overwhelmed
the
today's World Population Day.
I don't think it's overwhelmed them. And again, I don't think it's just the music videos that they watch. You see, these young people look at the society in a broad spectrum. A woman who fries akara down the road, saves up money, denies herself setting, to send her child to school, who graduates from the university, 6 years down the road, he cannot get a job. You see, the system frustrates people. There are very few opportunities for them.
And
the people who occupy these opportunities.
In Elisha then, way back then, there was a woman, an Akara fryer, if I could use that. She trained all her 5 children abroad from frying Akara by the roadside. Yeah. In fact, nobody went to Ife without going to Elisha to buy that Akara.
So if people know that if I work hard, and at the end of the day, you see, why people take loans outside this country to get an education is because they know that I can work in a grocery store, go to school in the morning, but when I graduate, I'm assured of a middle-class life.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have those assurances here. And the people you see who enjoy this life are people who cut corners.
Above all, one of the issues that compound this is parenting from the home, because that is where it all starts from.
Yeah, that's where it starts
all right, let's move to the Daily Sun now. Bloodbath in Taraba, Adamawa, 50 killed. Herdsmen strike again. And Tambawa to Buhari, we didn't vote for killings.
You know, I was shocked at one and then impressed, at the same time, because you need people who will stand up irrespective of political affiliations
and tell truth to authority.
Yoruba people say kakparakpo, kabolewi.
Okay. Kakparakpo, kabolewi. All right. So
if
no, interpret.
Kakparakpo, kabolewi.
Kakparakpo, kabolewi.
Want to interpret that?
Well, people should, when there's a thief, everybody
let's join hands.
Let's join hands and say this.
And call it what it is.
Call it what it is. Call a spade what it is.
Kakparakpo, kabolewi.
Let's call it what it is, because
but
if things are going wrong in a society, you need to find the moral courage to speak up and demand better, because this country does not belong to just one political party.
No, it doesn't.
It does not belong to one family. And if we've not learned any lessons from places like Maiduguri, is the fact that irrespective of your social status, when this tsunami of violence comes, you will never be insulated
goes
from
down.
it.
Exactly.
And so unfortunately, trickling in already. Moving on very quickly.
There is this disturbing development here with this story. Army unmasks a new deadly Islamic group or sect called Hakika in the northeast again. We saw the circulated a few days ago from the military.
I must say that I'm working on something very interesting, to reveal, to pen down how these things happen in northern Nigeria and why they continue to happen and why it will continue to happen until certain fundamentals are addressed in northern Nigeria. We will just be blinking in the dark.
Like what?
And these things will always keep reoccurring. Yeah. You go to communities in the north, and the things that they hear on radio and the kind of people they allow to go on radio is mind-boggling. You have people from...
All right. You know what, we'll have to wrap this very quickly. This day, Saraki Dogara Tambuwal Autumn Ahmed scores of legislators set to move to the PDP. That's no longer news. With strike in Norway, Libyan disruption, crude oil price rises to $79. I guess you might want to say that's good for Nigeria,
of course.
Isn't it? All right.
Is it necessarily good for Nigeria? Because we're buying crude oil like any other country. So at the end of the day,
the only good news is more dollars.
Either way, it's not necessarily.
Yeah.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Ayodele Adio, thank you for coming.
All right, Ayodele Adio is still very much with us in the studio. Good morning again. Thanks for staying with us. Okay, so is this an idea whose time has come, or do you have any concerns about state police?
Even though we usually wait till the 8th day of the week, to wake up to certain challenges that are boggling us. I think that there's no better time to debate this issue. If you follow the reports, the Council of Foreign Affairs put out a very damning report that about 20,000 people have been killed since 2015. And between 2011 and now, you have close to 50,000 deaths. That's alarming. No country should gloss over such deaths. 12 people were buried in our rubbles in Thailand, and the whole world were on standstill for 12 kids who were buried under the rubbles. And it could tell you, it could show you a glimpse of how valuable the human life is. And you come back home where it does seem like the value of a typical Nigerian it's not worth more than a barrel of oil. In fact, we fight more to protect a barrel of oil than the average life of a Nigerian, which is quite sad, if you'd like. But the question is, is state policing the solution to the security challenges that we face today?
That's the question.
The answer is no. Because if the mere fact that you decentralize the police will not directly stop the challenges. And you see, you have to look at it in a broad spectrum. You know, I think one of the most important things that we're missing out in dealing with security challenges in this country, there are 2-3 dimensions, and I quickly go through them. First of all, I know they tell us when you apply, you know, to read a course in university, they tell you the most important courses: medicine, engineering, law, you know. But I tell you, one of the most important courses now in the world is geography and history. Why is geography such important? Because if you do not understand the geography of your country, you'll be badly beating in trade, you'll be badly beating in security. Because you need the understanding of your geography to plan, to effectively plan your trading and to effectively plan your security. The real problem is we do not have a clear understanding of our geography. Wow. The forest, if you look at the attacks that hits us, whether it's in Zamfara, whether it's from Sambisa, whether the attacks usually come from people who operate from this forest and this desert.
Who seem to understand the
terrain very well. And you don't have enough geographers in this security apparatus to carefully, you know, design the strategies to say, okay, this is our vulnerable points, and these are the places we are going to mount. And if people attack from here, we understand that you cannot run through XYZ routes. That's the number one problem. You also need to understand the historical antecedents of all of these areas and why some of these crises tend to proliferate. Now, the moment you understand that, you can plan better, you can focus your resources in where will guarantee you the highest of returns. Secondly, is that you need to understand that we're dealing with not just a regional problem, you're dealing with a continental problem. The deepest crisis we're facing as a continent is in the Sahel region. And we're bounded by the Sahel region. We're close to Chad, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. If you look at the human index in those countries, they are between 186 and 181. These are poor, broken countries where crime festers, where people move around unchecked, where people do anything to earn $1, for goodness sake. And our borders are extremely porous. And these people are not just being pushed away by poverty, they are pushed away by terrible climatic conditions. They are desperate. So you have desperate people along your borders. And so what you need is a new kind of foreign policy that unleashes your diplomats and your diplomatic thinking to say, okay, what can we do to reduce the problem in the Sahel region? If it means you funding huge irrigational projects in countries like Chad and Niger, you have to do it. If it means you funding entrepreneurship projects to raise the standard of living of the people in those countries, you have to start thinking towards that direction.
Nigeria has done all that
before. Exactly my point.
Yes.
We've sent judges to countries.
Exactly.
We've set up
Even
funds
until now,
to help
we still
countries.
have judges in countries.
We have done
police.
those things in time past. We need to wear our thinking caps again and use our diplomats. I know that we have intelligent people in our diplomatic corps. We have people with institutional memory who know how things have worked over the years. The problem is we have not, as a country, tapped the brains of these people, and now is the time to do it.
Yeah, but coming back to the issue of state policing, for instance, if we narrow it down to take an example from, say, Lagos State, that has, to a great extent, is handling or trying to handle security issues well with the way they support the police system, including funding, including strategy, including proactivity and all of that. If the state police comes to bear, don't you think, at least, even if it's not the total solution, it's going to be a step in the right direction when it comes to handling, because they've always complained, like in Benue, for instance, when the governor says, well,
I'm helpless.
I'm helpless. Everything happens, he has to call Abuja. Everything happens, he has to call Abuja, as the case may be.
I mean, no doubt it's a step in the right direction. However, why do we act like we've never had state police in the country? The 1963 Constitution, you know, gave voice to state policing. It gave regional governments the right to create state policing. So we had state police. And if you remember, one of the first duties that Aguiyi Ironsi did when he became president in 1966 was to set up a Gobiru committee with clear directions to deal with the perception problem of the Nigerian police. The issue was that the Nigerian police was overbearing. That's the state police structure now, was overbearing. They were used by politicians
which was
to
the
oppress.
original intent of the colonial police.
Exactly. They were used to oppress local.
Yes.
I mean, that's why people like Balarabe Musa or Tanko Yakase cannot afford to hear the name state police. Because they were used against them in those regions. In fact, many people argue that it was those dissidents that even led to the coup in the first place. You know, so we've had it before. It had so many challenges, and that's why the committee recommended for a national police at the time. You know, but again, you need to look again into history to understand how the police was set up and why it was set up in the first place.
Exactly. I wish we had enough time to really explore all of those issues that you've raised. But another major concern that those who are criticizing this whole idea of state police, they're saying, look, this might just spell doom for Nigeria. It could lead to the balkanization of this country because Nigeria is not mature for state police.
The real problem is I don't have a problem with state or local police. But the real problem with, I read the amendments they're trying to do. What they have just done is to take what operates in Abuja to the state. Because if you read section 215 of the Constitution, what sets up the IG and the police, where it says that the president shall, you know, direct the Inspector General of Police in the maintenance of order and public safety. So it's just been translated to the governor shall order the Inspector General of Police and he shall take set of Police Service Commission, which will nominate the IG and all that. The real problem is the fact that you're putting the police at the behest of one man, at the discretion of one man. That is the real problem. You see, when they tell you...
It's not working as an institution.
It's not working as an institution. I believe that the police should be under a justice system, under the Attorney General. The police should... You see, that's why when you are arrested, I've heard, you know, Femi Falana cry several times that they've gotten court judgments to say that you can't detain people without their lawyer. They've gotten court judgments. The reason why it will continue to happen is because the police is not really technically answerable to the justice system. So they can go and do what they want to do. There's really no nexus there. If they were answerable to the justice system, where before a police arrests you, he needs to get a warrant from the judge. If we could go through that process, then you would have a stronger institution. Then you wouldn't have a case where the commissioner of police in the state, who we want to give the powers to be controlled by the governor, will not be able to use the police against you or I or against his political opponents because they will take their directives. They will be principally governed by the rule of law, not by an order from the governor of the state. So that is the real problem.
More or less the police we have now is actually more of a militarized police.
They protect the regime. That's why it's called the Nigeria police force.
With high political interference.
Too much political interference.
All right, we have to leave it here now. Adele Adio, thank you so much. Managing Director, Managing Editor, Gloom TV. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.